Are you sitting up straight?
Yes.
No, I'm gonna have to sit up straight.
Hi, friends. No, I'm nervous too. It's like I can talk to the camera as if it's not there, and then as soon as it's on, I'm like, hi!
Hi guys, my name is Janie Capri and welcome to my channel. And this is my friend Meg.
Hi.
We've been friends since like 7th grade. And now we're in college, so.
Yes.
So we are going to talk to you guys about our transition from high school to college and then how everything kind of went to crap because of the global pandemic.
Yeah, it was a very interesting first year of college.
I feel like my transition to college wasn't that crazy because I did go with my friends from high school to college. We all lived in the same dorm. And so it wasn't like meeting new people. Like we had roommates that we hadn't met before, but it wasn't like didn't know anyone, and it wasn't like too scary because I was like, if I get scared, I can go talk to Meg or my other roommate that I moved up to college with that I've also known since junior high. So it's great.
Less stranger danger.
Yes,
Only a little bit of stranger danger.
only a little bit. I guess the biggest thing is just like you're not with your parents anymore, which is very obvious. And like I didn't think
You're
it
not
would
with
be
like any adults.
yeah.
At all.
No supervision.
You are the adult.
You are the adult. We have become the adult.
What is this?
I don't know. I didn't think it was gonna be that different being without my parents, and then I was like, wait, I don't have my mom telling me that she's worried about me when I stay out past 11 o'clock anymore. Like, I could stay out till 2, and I might get a concerned text from one of my roommates being like, hey, you okay? Have you been kidnapped? And I'll be like, nope, I'm fine.
Which you didn't.
So
And by staying out, she meant in the basement of the building we lived in.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that concerning. She's just downstairs.
I wasn't exciting.
The most concerning part is she might not be getting enough sleep.
Did I get enough sleep? Usually.
Probably not.
I-
You stayed up like insanely late, Janie.
You're not wrong. You're definitely not. It wasn't often. It was like till midnight, and then I'd like fall asleep downstairs because, like, long story short, I met my current boyfriend.
She met a boy.
I met a boy.
She met a boy.
What's a boy?
It's a boy.
Are
Who
we
knows
gonna
what
have
that
to-
is?
It's fine, move on. So I met my boyfriend the first couple months of college and we lived in the same building, and so we just hang out in the common room in the basement. So we'd stay out till 12 and then we'd fall asleep, and then he'd like poke me at 2 a.m. and be like, hey, you really should, sleep in your own bed. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. And
To
then
be fair, I was up a lot of the time when you were coming in, so like I didn't get a lot of sleep either.
you're right. You're definitely
I
right.
would watch her come in with her blanket and she's all groggy and I'm like, good night. She's like,
good night. I feel like that was the biggest thing, not having adult supervision, and you are the adult, and then you also have to live with the consequences of staying up late or eating mac and cheese for all 3 meals of the day, which I didn't
eating
do.
fruits or vegetables. Oh, yeah, you did. Also, like, another thing is neither me nor Janie are like super out there people. So when we say like not having adult supervision, it's not like we were going out doing crazy things. Like I said, her
It's like, hey, wanna
staying
go-
out late is like in the basement of our own building.
I think one time we went and got McDonald's.
That's getting McDonald's. It's not bad.
There's that, and then there's the aspect of now you're going to the grocery store by yourself, which again wasn't a huge transition because now I get to control what I eat and I don't have to eat healthy.
I know, right? Like I didn't have to eat anything I didn't want to eat. Like I remember there was this one meal that I would always make because I cooked dinner for my family a lot when I lived at home, and my mom really liked zucchini, so I'd always put zucchini in it for my mom, and then I'd have to pick them out because I don't like zucchini. And then when I was up at college, I realized I don't have to put zucchini in it because the only person eating this is me, and I got so excited. It was great.
We're so rebellious, guys.
I know, right?
Look at us go. So I guess that was like the main thing, and then going to classes and being responsible for the classes that you're paying thousands of dollars to take. The skill level wasn't really that different from high school. I don't know what your experience was. It was about the same, to be honest.
I think the biggest difference there is you have more responsibility, so the assignments are not necessarily more difficult. Like, they might be a little bit, but nothing crazy. But you are expected to keep track of the assignments and the due dates, and you get less reminders about like when they're due, when things are due. There are still a lot of reminders for most teachers, but like you're just expected to kind of keep track of all of that, which is kind of where the hard part comes in, because if you don't keep track of that, then you get really stressed. Believe me. I'm not super great at keeping track of my assignments. Consistently.
Yes.
I do, and then I don't, and then I do, and then I don't, and
it's a cycle. It's definitely a cycle. My biggest tip for that is most college professors will give you a syllabus that has all the assignments listed and their due dates at the beginning of the semester. That is very useful. So you'd like get that and you'd write them all down in your planner or your phone, and so that when you have your reminders. That would be my biggest thing, but at the same time it's still hard to remind yourself sometimes.
It's also super overwhelming, especially when it's like your very first, because I remember going to my very first college class, and I got back and I was like, I am going to be super responsible, and like he said, you know, read through the syllabus. So I actually sat down and like read through the syllabus after I got home, and I was reading all of these assignments, and it got super overwhelming. Like, how am I going to do all of these? That's so much work. But you do have to just kind of remind yourself, like, this is spread out over the entire semester. So you're probably, like, week by week and whatnot, you're probably not going to be doing that many assignments. You really have to block it out for yourself and be like, okay, it's not that overwhelming.
School-wise, not really that much different, just, you know, making sure you get the work done, just like you did in high school. Not too different.
And kind of like balancing everything too, because like you mentioned, like you're going to the grocery store now. You're making yourself food, which, I mean, it's different for everybody. For a lot of people living at home, they don't do those things. And so now you have to balance that and schoolwork at the same time.
Is there any other aspects of college that's a thing?
Roommates?
Roommates. We had a good bunch of roommates.
We did. Our first year of college was so much fun because of the roommates that we had.
First week, we ordered a kissing gong.
Yeah. Okay, so like just to like set up, in our apartment there are 3 bedrooms, each with a bunk bed. So there are 2 girls in each room, 6 girls all together.
6 girls living in what, like 500 square feet?
It was not big. It was not big. So there was us 2. Our friend Mackenzie, who, like she mentioned before, we knew since like forever, and then 3 girls we had never met before and did not know. So it was kind of like we were going in there, the 3 of us against the 3 of them.
We're battling.
Battle the strangers. They're scary.
I don't know. I feel like for the most part, it was like definitely a transition of figuring out personalities, because like one of our roommates was very clean and organized and all that kind of stuff. That was her in the room roommate.
And I am not that way at all. So that was a bit of like a, because it's like I feel bad for my room being messy, but I always kept my mess on my side of the room, so it was like I didn't feel too bad because I wasn't encroaching on her space, but it's still like her desk was so organized and mine was so messy, and I was like,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, with that one it's just like figuring out like everyone's pet peeves so you can kind of like avoid like unnecessary conflict.
Yeah. It's basically like you're living with strangers, and most people have never lived with strangers before. Like
when you're transitioning from living with your family to
being
an
who
adult.
you've known for probably your whole life, and you know like what they like, what they don't like. Sometimes you purposefully do what they don't like, but like you're used to conflict with them because they're your siblings and whatnot.
You can get away with it.
You can get away with it, whereas these are strangers and you want them to like you.
Within the first week or 2, we had like sat down with our roommates, with the resident assistant.
Like the RA.
And he was like, okay, talk about these specific things. And it was like bringing boyfriends over, or when do we need to be quiet, or
they have like a list of, the RA had a list of like common like grievances and conflicts between roommates, and he just kind of spelled those out and was like, make sure you talk to your roommates about this and are all on the same page.
And most of us were like very much on the same page.
We were pretty much on the same page for most anything. Just kind of setting like that expectation and that boundary of like what is okay and what isn't between everyone in the room is the most important part.
It's the hardest part to do it too, because nobody wants to initiate that conversation.
For real.
Which is a good thing the RA had to.
Yeah.
It's his job to do
was
that.
his job. We loved Luke. Luke was great. Luke was the RA.
Hi, Luke. You're not watching this, but hi.
Hi.
And then after a while, like, you just kind of get into the routine of things. You get into the routine of things and just, you know, day to day, it's kind of a blur. It becomes normal.
You're super busy too. Like, everyone's doing their own classes. People have work. So it's not like you're around each other constantly. You have your own things going on.
We forgot to talk about the kissing gong. we started talking about that, and then we lost track.
Suspense. Everyone's sitting there like, what is this kissing gong you mentioned? I want to know.
So, we are interesting people, and we decided it was going to be a good idea to get this little itty baby gong that's like this big.
Okay, so the story behind it is, it came from me. I am the person with the idea. So one of my teachers, my senior year of high school, mentioned that he, in college, him and his roommates, had a kissing gong. And they had it in their, the common area of their apartment. And anytime any of them would come home from a date where they kissed the girl, they would ring the gong and write the girl's name on the back, and they'd all freak out because they're a bunch of college-age boys, and they're like, oh my gosh, you kissed her, oh yeah, and I loved that story. I was like, this is amazing, and I need this, and so I texted her.
She shared it with us, and we were like, down.
We need it, and so we went on Amazon, and we got a little gong. It's just really small. And we put it in the common area of our apartment. How many names are on the back?
6? 5? 4?
5. Because McCall wrote Eric's name.
Yeah, I think there were 5.
There were 5.
There was 5. 5 names.
Okay.
We all kissed one person.
Except
for one of our roommates.
And the
Kaylee, we love you.
funny thing is, 4 of those were our boyfriends.
So it wasn't.
And one of those was a date situation. Yeah. So it was
exciting.
It was a funny idea, and it's oh, we're gonna get so many names on the back, but
we're not exciting.
None of our personalities kind of went with that. None of us went on too many dates. Like I said, 3 of us ended up having boyfriends, steady boyfriends, and so obviously the only person we're kissing is them. And so it was funny idea, and it was a fun story to tell everybody, because they'd come in, they'd be like, oh, this is really cool, and be like, yeah, that's our kissing gong, and then we'd have to tell the story. But in reality, it was not super, it was a fun little tradition. Oh, we need to talk about the other traditions we had, because we had so many fun traditions, which is kind of what made it fun, because we all had exciting things to do.
Yes, with your roommates, come up with traditions, bonding experiences. You'll thank me later. So with the other one, who came up with it? So basically,
I think it was you. It was a combination of you and Kaylee and
I think
Nikki.
So basically, anytime a boy entered our apartment, we would take his mugshot.
So we had a door in our hallway that we had put that washi tape up on, so it's the lines of the height differences in mugshots, and we had our roommate Nikki, who had the best handwriting ever, write them the little sign to hold in front of them, and we'd take mugshots, and then you would go and print it out in black and white, and we would hang it on our wall.
So anytime a new boy came in and they were like, what the heck is this?
We shoved them in front of the wall, shoved the paper in their hand, and said, we're taking your mugshot, and you're going on the wall.
And we had the dumbest little description on
the
paper.
Oh yeah, their crime that was written on the thing was so dumb. I think my boyfriend was the very first one up, and his crime wasn't it kissing me before we had the kissing gong?
Yeah.
Because they knew it was coming, but it was on its way, and they were like, you can't kiss her yet. The gong isn't here, she can't ring it. And we're like, oh, that's too late, we've already kissed. And they're like, oh, no! What were other ones? Someone have, perfect hair or something?
Someone being too perfect. So, my boyfriend did not want to go up on the wall, and he fought it.
Oh my gosh, he did.
He fought it.
He was not a fan. He was like, until this happened, this has to happen first before I go up on the wall.
His patient was, this certain person has to go up on the wall before me, and it was this one boy that was living in our building that we were all friends with. We love Davey.
Hi, Davey! I was like, who was it? Yeah, I miss Davey.
And his crime was absolutely nothing.
He's just happy to be here. So, and he has the cutest smile. It's so cute.
He went up on the wall, and then Chase was like, fine, you can take my
He tried to fight it again, and you were like, no, this is what you said. And so he was like, fine, whatever. What was his crime?
Making Davey go up on the wall.
Making Davey go up first.
So life got into a rhythm. We were chilling in college. Everything was fine.
Yeah, we went through the whole first semester. We went home for Christmas break, Christmas, New Year's, which is the end of the semester. So the semester ended, we went home for a month. We came back, and everything kind of just went back into normal. New classes. It was just getting back into the rhythm of school.
And then March hit. The virus had been in the media since at least February.
Yeah, it had been
maybe a little bit before then. It wasn't a big deal. Yeah.
It was a meme at that time. It's still a meme, but at the time it was only a meme.
Yeah, like it didn't like affect our personal life because it wasn't like where we were.
Yeah.
And then it
was
life.
like overnight things changed. First classes were canceled.
Well, I remember like the specific moment when like we were all gathered in my room. We were
Yeah.
playing the game of life. Good memories. I have a Polaroid picture of that, by the way. We were waiting for our college to announce how we were gonna handle the pandemic, how
Yeah.
classes were gonna go. And so we were waiting around because we were waiting for the governor to make the announcement, and then our college was gonna
Decide
base it off
based
of
on
that.
what he said.
And so then there's like, okay, we're closing down our classes.
Yeah.
You're gonna be online
So
completely.
There are no more classes. It was like today was our last day of classes. Like it wasn't even like tomorrow or next week. It was like today. We already had our last day of classes. It was just weird. We were like, oh my gosh. But they told us, they were like, stay up here. Don't go like home.
Don't
You
spread
know,
it.
Yeah, don't spread. So they were like, stay in your dorms, or like if you live in like apartments off campus, stay in your apartments. Don't go to like your parents' home or your permanent home or wherever.
Just stay put. Don't move.
Yeah.
Stay. I'm sure that's
And
how
then,
the college felt.
Yeah, for real. And then it was like the very next day, they sent out an email and it was like, okay, so you can go home if you want to, but you can also stay up if you want to. And then it was like the very next day after that, they sent out an email that said,
Go
if
home.
you have somewhere to go home. Don't stay up here anymore.
Because they didn't want they didn't want the back and forth, and they were just like,
just go home and like stay home. And so that was just very crazy because it was like 2 days ago I was going to class like normal, like everything was fine, and now I'm going home and it's the beginning of April.
we basically had online classes for like a month and a half or 2 months. And so you went home.
I went home after like a week. So I was like, I want a week of like online classes, getting used to doing online classes, because school was difficult for me. I have a very hard time with homework, and just school does not come easily to me. So I was like, I don't want to be moving home while at the same time trying to figure out how I'm going to be teaching myself basically through these online classes, because the poor teachers, they had no time to prepare online versions of their class.
A lot of teachers just gave up,
a lot of
to be
teachers
honest.
were
They
just
were like,
like,
they had these big projects that we'd have to do with groups.
and they canceled their projects. Like it was just like the basic assignments, because a lot of the assignments were already online. We would just talk about them in class. So a lot of them, they were like, just do these basic assignments. Exams are canceled, projects are canceled. Like just do the assignments that you can do that are easier online. Yeah, and so like these classes that weren't designed to be online, the teachers were frantically trying to switch them to be online. So it wasn't perfect, and so I'm trying to like do these not perfect classes online. So I was like, I don't want to be moving while doing that. So I waited a week, figured out a new routine, and then I moved home.
For me, I ended up staying on campus just because I was like, I just want to stay put where I'm going to be at, and then like figure it out from there. I just wanted to like finish up school and like just not move. So literally all I did was I was either in my dorm or I was at the grocery store. Didn't do anything else.
She just stayed.
I was just at home, and I thrived because I hate going to class. I hate the anxiety of, I don't know, just discussions and that kind of stuff.
Talking to people.
Talking to people is scary. I mean, for the most part, school is a little bit difficult, but like, I don't know, I feel like I figured out the rhythm of what works best for me. And so when everything went online, like it was a little bit tricky at first trying to figure out what was going on because no one knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know if we were still doing these big group projects because it was before they were canceled. Like we were still having the expectation to do it.
Yeah, so you're like, how am I supposed to do this if I can't like see anyone?
Yeah.
If people are like way at their home that's like 2 hours away, like.
Yeah, so there's that general stress, but then it went away as the teachers were just like,
canceling projects.
Screw this. Throw it to the wind.
Yeah.
After that, I thrived because it was me and our friend Mackenzie, and we were the only ones left in the dorm. So we were in the room together. We were in the room roommates. And I moved out, and so we just had our own rooms. And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I did my schoolwork, she did her schoolwork, and we just had this big empty apartment. And we it was fine. And when we came home, finally, when school was over, like the whole summer thing, we didn't see each other at all because we were,
because everyone was quarantining. That was when,
that was the big push for it.
Yeah, that was the big push for, you don't leave your house unless you need to. Grocery
store, emergencies, that's it.
And so we just stayed home, like all of that beginning
I
of
don't
summer.
think we struggle that much because we're both kind of introverted.
Yeah, we're very kind of like introverted homebodies. I did miss like occasional hanging out with like a group of friends and whatnot, but like overall, I was like, this is
It's
fine.
fine. It's
You
not
know,
a big deal.
like day to day, my life didn't change, you know, all that often because I never left home anyway.
Yeah. And then like our state opened up pretty quickly. I feel like by the end of May, it was pretty much open again, which might not have been the smartest idea, but you know, things happen. And then we're college students, so we have stuff to pay for, so we got jobs.
We got jobs.
Like everything was up in the air along with what's going to be happening the following fall
Yeah, like
with classes,
With
and are
classes
they going to
starting
be
up again.
online, are they going to be in person, like what's the deal? And so the entire summer it was just up in the air and
Like,
nobody knew what the heck was
it's
going
like,
on.
am I even going back to college? I don't know.
And so our plan was to room together again in the same dorm, and we were going to be in the room roommates. And then I've been working at a daycare for the entire summer. It's been great. I love the kids. They're brats, but I love them. And it was always the plan just to go back up to college, and it wasn't really a question. But then when I got my official class schedule, they were all online already. And so I was like,
because even though like they were, our college was having in-person classes, a lot of classes were made to be online that weren't normally online. The only classes that were in person were ones that had to be in person. So like cooking labs or sewing labs, which are very difficult to do
from
online
home.
because people don't always have all of the same like equipment that they get from class, like the sewing machines and whatnot.
And then
so,
you're having to buy the fabric, or you're having to buy the food to do the labs.
yeah, and so they had stuff like that in person classes, but anything else that could be online
It was online.
made online.
And so her major is,
Family and consumer sciences education.
that's a mouthful.
It really is.
My field is elementary education / deaf education. And so all of my classes were already available online, so the ones that weren't online, I was like, oh, I totally can take that class online, so I switched it. And so I stayed home, and I'm still working and doing college full-time.
Yeah, so she didn't actually come up to the college campus, and we live about an hour to like an hour and 15 minutes away from this college campus.
It's been quite a bit of a transition going from normal, or a transition going from even high school to college, and then it's a whole level on top of that.
Going from our first year of college, which for most of it was normal, to now a completely different and new college experience.
Yeah.
Because the things I think about the most that I miss from last year is, well, I miss my roommates because we were all like really close. But I miss having people over. Like, as much as I'm an introvert, I like having people over because like one of our roommates, she had some pretty difficult classes, so she had these two friends that were in those classes with her that she'd bring over, and they would study together, and then when they were done studying and done doing their homework, we'd all just kind of sit around and talk.
I liked
And
them.
then
They were nice.
They were nice. And then you had Chase over all the time. I had Jordan over, like, and it just felt kind of fun, and like, you know, having friends over to your place and like all this stuff. Whereas now, for on-campus housing, you're not allowed to have anyone in your apartment unless they already live in the same building as you, and they have to wear a mask the whole time. And
No kissing, guys.
Yes. And so that's hard because I'm like, I miss having friends over. I miss having people come over and like just hanging out. It's so much harder to hang out now because you have to find somewhere that's outside or somewhere that's in a common room, and everyone's having to wear masks. And I know that like everyone is going through this and everyone understands that frustration. And so just kind of comparing to last year, I was able to do all this stuff, and now I can't. It's so like I'm sad. I miss
Like the college
actual
experience.
college experience that I was getting last year. I was so looking forward to it again this year, and I don't have that because I can't have people over, and so it's just kind of
Or like even like college like dances.
yeah,
And traditions and stuff. Like our school has something like you become like a true college student, I guess, by kissing them like on a certain place on campus, and you do it during a full moon, and they have these certain nights
or
throughout the
like
year.
homecoming night,
Yeah.
which was super popular. They had that spot where the people would go and stand and kiss, and there was like a giant line every year, which obviously because people are kissing, like that's
You can't do
they
that.
can't do that right now, and so that's a huge tradition that our school has been doing for so long.
Like over 100 years.
Yeah, like for as long as it's been there, pretty much, and we just can't do it anymore. Like
So it's like,
Which is
like on the list of like things that are very important, it's not very high on the list, but it still is like a sad situation to be in.
it is. It's like, it's kind of, they took all the fun parts of college away, which we don't blame them for that because they
Because
have
we're
to.
we're paying for the actual.
Yeah, we're getting the actual like classes, we're getting the education that we need, but the fun parts of college that come with that are gone, which makes it kind of like, well, now it's just school, you know?
It's just school.
Now I
Who
feel like
needs school.
it's like I feel like I don't have a life outside of school and work, pretty much, because like I'm not really allowed to have friends over and like go to activities and like, you know, parties and dances and stuff. So it's basically like I have no social life. It's just work and school and that's it.
That's our life right now. We'll get it figured out. This thing will either blow over or we'll get used to it.
Yeah.
One of the two things will happen.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. And another thing too that I have noticed a lot that I miss is I miss having you up there.
I
Because,
know.
like I said, I'm not a very social person, and so whenever I would do anything fun or anything social, it's because she was like, "Hey,
Let's
let's
go do
do
stuff."
this," and I was like, "Yes, I'm so down." Because you're planning it and I don't have to organize anything. I will go. And so we did a whole ton of fun stuff because you were like, hey, let's go do this fun stuff. But now you're not up there. And
Now I'm just
so-
like texting you like, hey, here's a meme.
Here's a meme. And I'm like, thanks for the meme.
I don't know. I feel like that pretty much sums up our college experience and all the transitions that we've had to go through. We'll get through it. We'll figure it
It'll
out,
be
or we'll
fine.
get used to
Yeah.
it.
For most people, college is a constant changing situation anyway, so that's not that different. It's just, this is a different situation than ever before.
It's extreme for sure.
Yeah.
It is extreme. That's it.
College is fun.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so thanks for watching.
Hope you enjoyed our chaotic energy.
I feel like that was so on par. Okay. Yep. Hope you enjoyed our video. And like if you have any questions about college life in general, we're kind of experts.
Not really.
Not really. We've only had like a year and a couple months of experience, but like if you have any questions about roommates or future videos you'd like to see about questions you have of just life in general, go ahead and leave it down
We
below.
will answer them, whether we are qualified to or not.
Unsolicited advice.
Yay!
Okay, see you guys. Bye!